Chosen one, stop everything right now. This isn't just another moment scrolling through your day, lost in the noise of a world that pulls you in 1,000 directions. This is a divine interruption, a sacred pause, orchestrated by the hand of God Himself. Picture a radiant scroll unfurling in the heavens, your name etched in shimmering light, calling you to awaken to what matters most. You've been running, striving, chasing answers, but God is whispering something urgent, something personal, something so profound it could shift the very foundation of your life. He's saying, look at your palm, chosen one. See the M sign etched there, a mark of your divine purpose. This isn't a coincidence. It's a celestial signal that you're missing what matters most. Your calling, your destiny, the abundant life waiting for you. Don't ignore this. The Creator of the universe is speaking directly to you, and what you do in this moment could change everything. You've felt it, haven't you? That ache deep in your soul, the sense that you're meant for more than the daily grind, more than the endless cycle of worry, doubt, and distraction. Maybe you're staring at bills piling up, relationships fraying, or dreams you've buried under the weight of fear. You've been carrying burdens that weren't yours to bear. Financial stress, emotional exhaustion, the nagging voice that says, you're not enough. But let me tell you something. Those struggles aren't your identity. They're your preparation. Every tear you've shed, every sleepless night, every door that slammed shut wasn't a punishment. It was God sculpting you, refining you, preparing you for a breakthrough so powerful it will leave you breathless. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." He's been near you all along, chosen one, waiting for you to notice the M on your palm, the mark of His promise that you are chosen for a prosperous life. This video is different. It's not about fleeting inspiration or empty promises. It's about unveiling how the fears holding you back, the ones that make you feel small, stuck, or unworthy, are the very keys to your greatest breakthroughs. We're diving deep into the heart of what matters most: your spiritual awakening, your divine purpose, your faith journey toward a life of abundance and personal transformation. God isn't just offering you a way out of struggle. He's inviting you into a divine flow where provision, clarity, and peace become your new normal. Imagine a river of overflowing blessings, its currents carrying ideas, opportunities, and connections straight to your doorstep. That's what's waiting if you dare to step forward. But first, you need to see what you've been missing. The sacred truth that your life isn't random, your pain isn't wasted, and your destiny is already written in heaven's ledger. Let's talk about that M on your palm. Look at it now. Really look. Whether it's faint or bold, it's there. A quiet reminder of God's covenant with you. In ancient traditions, the M was seen as a sign of greatness, a mark of those destined to lead, create, and transform. For you, it's God's signature, a reminder that you're not defined by your bank account, your past mistakes, or the opinions of others. You're defined by His purpose. Maybe you've been distracted, scrolling through social media, comparing yourself to others, or drowning in responsibilities. Maybe you've let fear whisper lies. You're too late. You're not ready. You don't have enough. But God says otherwise. Isaiah 41:10 declares, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you." That M is your reminder to stop chasing what the world says matters and start embracing what God says is yours. Divine provision, unshakable peace, a prosperous life. Now, let's get real. Life hasn't been easy. Maybe you're a single parent, juggling work and kids, wondering how you'll make ends meet. Or perhaps you're a dreamer who's put your passion on hold, afraid to fail again. I think of Sarah, a woman I heard about from a small town in Ohio. She was 42, working 2 jobs, her savings drained after a medical emergency. She felt invisible, like her prayers were hitting the ceiling. One night, exhausted, she noticed the M on her palm while washing dishes. Something stirred in her, a spark of hope. She started small, writing down one goal: to start a catering business, a dream she'd abandoned years ago. Within weeks, a friend offered her a small gig that led to another, then a steady stream of clients. Today, Sarah's business thrives not because she had all the answers, but because she trusted the M, the mark of God's plan for her prosperity. Her story isn't unique. It's a glimpse of what's possible when you align with your divine purpose. You might be thinking, but my situation is different. I don't know where to start. That's okay. Doubt is human, but faith is divine. The problem isn't your circumstances, it's what you've been focusing on. You've been missing what matters most: your connection to God's promises, your ability to act in faith, your power to co-create your destiny with the Creator. The world wants you distracted, scrolling endlessly, chasing trends or worrying about tomorrow. But God wants you present, rooted in His truth, ready to step into your breakthrough. Philippians 4:19 assures us, "And my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of His glory in Christ Jesus." That's not a maybe, it's a divine guarantee. Your financial freedom, your personal transformation, your overflowing blessings, they're not dreams, they're your inheritance. If this message is stirring something in your soul, consider supporting our mission through Super Thanks. Your gift helps us spread this message of divine provision to more chosen ones like you, igniting faith journeys across the globe. Every contribution plants a seed for someone else's breakthrough, and we're grateful for your heart to give. So, what's holding you back? Fear. It's the thief that's kept you from what matters most. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. But what if fear isn't your enemy? What if it's the doorway to your destiny? Every time you've hesitated, every time you've doubted, you've been standing at the edge of a divine moment, a chance to step into the life God designed for you. Picture a golden door, your name carved in radiant letters, pulsating with promise. On the other side is everything you've prayed for: clarity, abundance, purpose. But the handle is on your side and fear is the only lock. Joshua 1:9 commands, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." The myrrh on your palm is your key. It's time to turn it. Here's where the rubber meets the road. You don't need to wait for perfect conditions or a cosmic sign. God's already given you the M, the mark of your calling. To step into your divine moment, I'm giving you 3 specific practical steps you can take right now to align with your destiny. These aren't vague ideas. They're actionable, rooted in faith and positive psychology, designed to spark your spiritual awakening and set you on the path to prosperity. Don't overthink them, just do them with intention, trusting that God will meet you in your obedience. First, write one clear goal for this week. Grab a notebook, your phone, or even a napkin. Whatever's handy. Write down one thing you feel called to do, something that stirs your heart, whether it's starting a project, applying for a job, or pursuing a passion you've shelved. Be specific. For example, I will create a business plan for my online store by Friday. This isn't just a to-do list item, it's a prophetic act, a declaration that you're ready for divine provision. Habakkuk 2:2 says, "Write the vision, make it plain on tablets so he may run who reads it." When you write it down, you're telling heaven, "I'm serious about my destiny." Second, reach out to someone you need to connect with. Maybe it's a friend you've drifted from, a mentor who can guide you, or even someone you need to forgive. Pick up the phone, send a text, or write an email. This step is about building divine connections, the relationships God uses to unlock your breakthrough. For instance, think of John, a graphic designer from Atlanta. He felt stuck in his career until he emailed an old professor asking for advice. That led to a freelance gig which snowballed into a full-time contract with a major firm. One message changed his trajectory. Proverbs 27:17 reminds us, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." Your breakthrough might be one conversation away. Third, take one bold action toward your dream. This could be signing up for a course, creating a social media page for your business, or even praying boldly for a specific need. The key is to move, even if it's a small step. I heard about Maria, a teacher in Dallas who dreamed of writing a children's book. For years, fear held her back, until she committed to writing one page. That page became a chapter, then a manuscript, and now her book inspires kids nationwide. Ecclesiastes 11:4 warns, "Whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap." Don't wait for perfect timing. Act now, and watch God multiply your effort. These 3 steps, writing a goal, reaching out, and taking bold action, are your roadmap to stop missing what matters most. They're simple but sacred, designed to align your faith with action. Don't add more steps. These are enough. Commit to them this week and you'll start to see shifts. Maybe a new opportunity, a spark of clarity, or a peace you haven't felt in years. God doesn't need you to have it all figured out. He just needs you to start. If this message is resonating, pause for a moment and type, "I'm claiming my divine moment," in the comments below. Let heaven see your declaration and join thousands of chosen ones stepping into their destiny. Your voice matters, and your comment could inspire someone else to take their first step. Now, let's go deeper. You might be wondering, why do I keep missing what matters? Why do I feel stuck even when I try? The answer lies in your focus. The world trains you to chase what's temporary, likes, status, quick fixes. But God calls you to pursue what's eternal, your divine purpose, your faith journey, your legacy. Think of it like a garden. If you keep watering weeds, fear, distraction, comparison, you'll choke out the seeds of abundance God planted in you. But when you water what matters, faith, obedience, courage, your life blossoms into a prosperous garden of overflowing blessings. Matthew 6:33 says, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." That's the secret to wealth creation, not just financially, but spiritually and emotionally. Let's address the elephant in the room: money. You might be thinking, "I need financial freedom, not just inspiration." I hear you. God's plan for you isn't poverty or struggle, it's provision. But divine provision isn't about chasing wealth for wealth's sake. It's about aligning with your purpose so resources flow naturally. Remember Sarah, the caterer? Her breakthrough came not from obsessing over money, but from acting on her calling. When she trusted God's plan, clients found her, contracts multiplied, and her bank account grew. Deuteronomy 8:18 says, "Remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth." Your M is a reminder that God funds your purpose, not your panic. Focus on your 3 steps and watch how provision follows. You're not alone in this. Thousands of chosen ones are watching this, feeling the same stir in their spirits. Picture a vast community, hands raised, hearts open, all declaring, "I'm ready for my divine moment." You're part of that movement. a wave of believers rising into their destiny. But it starts with you right now choosing to stop missing what matters. Look at your palm again. That M isn't just a mark, it's a mandate. It's God saying, I've equipped you, I've chosen you, and I'm with you. Your fears? They're just shadows. Your doubts? They're just noise. Your destiny? It's real and it's waiting. What if the very thing you're afraid of, failure, rejection, the unknown, is the path to your breakthrough? What if the M on your palm is God's way of saying, trust me and step forward? You've been missing what matters most because you've been looking backward, replaying old wounds, or forward, worrying about what's next. But God is calling you to the present, to this divine moment where faith meets action. Romans 8:28 promises, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Your struggles, your dreams, they're all part of his plan for your prosperous life. You're standing at a crossroads, chosen one, where the weight of what's behind you meets the promise of what's ahead. That M on your palm isn't just a mark, it's a compass, pointing you toward the life God designed before you took your first breath. You've been distracted by the noise of the world, haven't you? The endless scroll of comparison, the pressure to prove yourself, the fear that your dreams are too big or your mistakes too heavy. But God is calling you to refocus, to lock eyes with the eternal truth that your life is not a series of accidents, but a masterpiece woven with divine intention. Picture a tapestry, each thread of your pain, your hope, your quiet prayers, carefully stitched by the Creator's hand into a story of breakthrough and abundance. This moment, right now, is where you stop missing the sacred purpose pulsing through your vein. Let's talk about what's been stealing your attention. Maybe it's the voice of scarcity, whispering that you'll never have enough. Enough money, enough time, enough courage. Or maybe it's the sting of betrayal, like when someone you trusted turned away, leaving you questioning your worth. I think of Daniel, a young man from Chicago who poured his heart into a startup, only to have his partner walk away with the profits. For months, Daniel felt paralyzed, replaying the betrayal, doubting his ability to dream again. But one day, staring at his palm, he noticed the faint reminder of something bigger. He decided to take one step. He enrolled in a free online course to refine his skills. That led to a mentor who saw his potential, then a new venture that's now thriving. Daniel's story shows us that what matters most isn't the loss you've endured, but the faith you choose to rebuild. Psalm 37:23 says, "The steps of a good person are ordered by the Lord." Your steps, even the shaky ones, are guided by divine hands. You might feel like you've been wandering, chosen one, but God calls it positioning. Every detour, every delay, every moment you thought you were failing was actually heaven aligning you for your divine purpose. The world sees setbacks, God sees setups. That job you didn't get, it was steering you toward a path that aligns with your calling. That relationship that ended, it was clearing space for connections that honor your light. The M on your palm is proof that nothing in your life is wasted. Jeremiah 29:11 declares, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Your spiritual awakening isn't something you have to chase. It's already unfolding, pulling you into a prosperous life where fear no longer writes the script. Now, let's address the lies you've believed. Maybe you've told yourself you're too old to start over, too broken to be used, or too ordinary to make a difference. Those are the enemy's whispers, designed to keep you from your destiny. But God's truth is louder. Look at Moses, a man who stuttered and doubted himself, yet God chose him to lead a nation. At 80 years old, standing before a burning bush, Moses didn't feel ready, but God saw the M of his calling. the mark of a deliverer. You too carry that mark. Your age, your past, your fears, they don't disqualify you. They qualify you for a personal transformation that will ripple through generations. Your divine purpose isn't about perfection. It's about obedience, about saying yes to the small, sacred steps God places before you. Those 3 steps I gave you, writing a goal, reaching out, taking bold action, are your bridge from fear to faith. They're not just tasks, they're declarations that you're done missing what matters. Let's revisit them briefly to anchor your heart. When you write that goal, you're not just jotting down words, you're planting a seed in heaven's soil, trusting God to water it. When you reach out to someone, you're opening a door for divine connections, people who will sharpen your vision and amplify your impact. And when you take that bold action, you're stepping through the golden door of your destiny, claiming the abundance God promised. Don't overcomplicate it. These steps are simple because faith doesn't need complexity. It needs courage. Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans." Your commitment to these steps invites heaven to move. Imagine this: a vast horizon stretches before you, golden light spilling across fields of possibility. Each step you take toward your calling lights up the path, revealing opportunities you couldn't see before. That's what happens when you stop focusing on what's missing and start embracing what's present. God's provision, His timing. You're building a legacy. Think of Ruth, a widow with nothing who chose to step forward in faith, gleaning in fields that led her to Boaz and a lineage that birthed kings. Her story wasn't about what she lacked, it was about what she chose to pursue. God's plan over her pain. Your myth is your invitation to do the same, to choose faith over fear, purpose over panic, abundance over anxiety. If this message is igniting a fire in your spirit, pause and type, "I'm choosing what matters," in the comments below. Let your declaration join the chorus of chosen ones claiming their divine moment. Your voice is powerful, and your comment could spark someone else's faith journey, reminding them they're not alone in this sacred pursuit. Now let's talk about provision. Because God's plan for you isn't just spiritual, it's practical. You're not called to live in lack, scraping by, wondering how you'll pay the next bill. God's economy is one of overflow, where your needs are met and your dreams are funded. But here's the key: divine provision flows through alignment, not striving. When you focus on what matters most, your faith, your purpose, your obedience, resources find you. I heard about a woman named Lisa in Seattle, a single mother who felt trapped in a dead-end job. She saw the M on her palm one evening and decided to act on her dream of starting a community garden. She wrote her goal, reached out to a local nonprofit, and took a bold step by pitching her idea. Within months, grants poured in, volunteers showed up, and her garden became a beacon of hope for her neighborhood. Deuteronomy 28:12 says, "The Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse of His bounty, to bless all the work of your hands." Lisa's story is yours, chosen one, proof that when you align with God's purpose, provision follows. You might be thinking, but what about my fears? What if I fail? Let's reframe that. Fear isn't a stop sign. It's a signal you're on the edge of something holy. Every time you've felt afraid, you've been standing at the threshold of a divine moment. That knot in your stomach when you think about starting that business? It's not doubt, it's destiny knocking. That hesitation before forgiving someone who hurt you, it's not weakness, it's God inviting you to clear space for new blessings. Fear is just the shadow of your potential, and the M on your palm is the light that casts it away. Isaiah 43:1 says, "Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have summoned you by name. you are mine. You're not defined by what scares you. You're defined by the God who calls you. Let's get practical again. You don't need $1 million or a perfect plan to start. You just need to trust the M and take those 3 steps. Maybe your goal is to save $100.00 this month by cutting one expense. Maybe your outreach is a call to a friend who's been on your heart. Maybe your bold action is posting that first video, launching that blog, or praying for clarity with unwavering faith. These aren't random acts. They're sacred seeds, each one carrying the potential for a harvest of abundance. Think of David, a shepherd boy with a sling and 5 stones. He didn't have an army, but he had faith, and that was enough to slay a giant. Your stones, your goal, your outreach, your action are enough to slay the giants of fear and lack in your life. You're part of something bigger, chosen one. Picture a vast assembly, thousands of souls across the globe, each with an M on their palm, each stepping into their divine purpose. You're not alone in this faith journey. Your breakthrough isn't just for you. It's for the people waiting on the other side of your obedience. Your family, your community, even strangers you'll never meet. Your life is a ripple, spreading hope, clarity, and prosperity wherever you go. Romans 15:13 says, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit." That's your calling, not to blend in, but to stand out, to overflow, to shine. What if the fear you're facing is the very doorway to your divine provision? What if the mem on your palm is God's reminder that you're already equipped for everything He's calling you to? You've been missing what matters most because you've been looking at the wrong things, your limitations, your setbacks, your doubts. But now, chosen one, it's time to look up, to see the golden path unfolding before you, to trust that every step you take is backed by heaven's resources. Your destiny isn't waiting for someday, it's waiting for you to say yes right now. You're not just standing in a moment, chosen one. You're standing in a divine appointment, a sacred intersection where heaven's plans collide with your reality. That mem on your palm pulses with purpose, a living reminder that God has marked you for a life of impact, not insignificance. You've been caught in the undertow of life's demands. Maybe it's the weight of expectations, the pressure to keep up, or the quiet ache of unfulfilled dreams, but God is pulling you out of that current, redirecting your gaze to what truly matters: your spiritual awakening, your unshakable faith, your destiny to walk in divine provision. Picture a lighthouse, its beam cutting through the fog of your doubts, guiding you to a shore where abundance flows and fear has no foothold. This is your moment to stop missing the eternal and start claiming the extraordinary. Let's talk about the distractions that have kept you tethered to the ordinary. Maybe it's the endless loop of overthinking, replaying conversations that left you feeling small, or decisions you wish you could undo. Or perhaps it's the subtle pull of comfort, the temptation to stay where it's safe instead of stepping into the unknown. I think of Esther, a woman from a small town in Georgia who felt trapped in a cycle of routine. She worked a steady job, paid her bills, but her heart burned for something more: a non-profit to help foster children. Fear of failure kept her silent, but one day she noticed the M on her palm while journaling. It sparked a memory of her childhood dream. She took a step, she researched grant applications. That led to a meeting with a local charity, then funding, and now her organization touches hundreds of lives. Esther 4:14 says, "And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" Your M is your reminder that you, too, are positioned for such a time. You might feel like you've been overlooked, chosen one, like your efforts go unnoticed or your prayers unanswered. But God sees every quiet sacrifice, every moment you chose faith over despair. The world may measure success by followers, bank balances, or titles, but God measures it by the posture of your heart. Your struggles, those late nights wondering how you'll make it, those moments of rejection that stung deeper than you admitted, were not signs of failure. They were training grounds, forging you into a vessel of resilience and purpose. Psalm 139:16 declares, "Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be." Your life isn't a series of random events, it's a divine script, and the M on your palm is the signature of the author who's writing your story of breakthrough. Let's address the temptation to compare. You've scrolled through lives that seem perfect, haven't you? The colleague with the promotion, the friend with the thriving business, the influencer with the flawless feed. It's easy to feel like you're falling behind, like you're missing the mark. But comparison is a thief, stealing your joy and blinding you to the unique path God carved for you. Your destiny isn't a race against others, it's a journey with the Creator. Think of Joseph, sold into slavery, imprisoned, forgotten, yet every hardship was a stepping stone to becoming Egypt's governor. His mem was the dream he held on to, even in the pit. Genesis 50:20 says, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Your hardships are shaping you for a purpose that will outshine any comparison. Those 3 steps, writing a goal, reaching out, taking bold action, are your lifeline to what matters most. They're not just tasks, they're acts of worship, aligning your heart with God's promises. When you write that goal, you're engraving your faith on the tablet of heaven. When you reach out, you're inviting divine partnerships that amplify your impact. When you take that bold action, you're stepping into the flow of God's provision, where miracles meet obedience. Don't let fear make you hesitate. Remember Peter, who stepped out of the boat onto the water. Matthew 14:29 says, "Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus." Your bold step might feel shaky, but it's leading you to walk on waves of possibility. If this message is stirring your soul, pause and type, "I'm aligned with my purpose," in the comments below. Let your words echo in the heavens, joining countless chosen ones who are claiming their divine moment. Your comment isn't just a gesture. It's a declaration that ripples through your community, inspiring others to trust their M and step forward. Now, let's talk about provision again, not just money, but the fullness of God's abundance. You're not called to scrape by, chosen one. God's plan is for you to thrive, to live a prosperous life where your needs are met and your purpose is funded. But this isn't about chasing wealth for its own sake. It's about stewarding resources for God's glory. I heard about Michael, a carpenter in Nashville who felt stuck in a low-paying job. He saw the M on his palm one day while sanding wood and felt a nudge to start a custom furniture business. He wrote his goal, contacted a local shop owner for advice, and took a bold step by posting his work online. Within weeks, orders flooded in, and now he's building a legacy, not just furniture. Deuteronomy 28:6 says, "You will be blessed when you come in and blessed when you go out." Your M is your assurance that God blesses the work of your hands when you align with His purpose. Fear might still whisper, "What if it doesn't work? What if I'm not enough?" But let's silence that voice. Fear is just a signal. You're stepping into new territory, a place where faith grows and miracles unfold. Picture a seed buried in dark soil, pressed down by weight and silence. It doesn't look promising, but beneath the surface it's breaking open, reaching for light. That's you, chosen one. Your struggles have been the soil, your faith the seed. And now you're breaking through into a season of growth. Isaiah 55:11 says, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire." God's word over your life, is active, alive, and unstoppable. Trust it. You're not alone in this journey. Imagine a vast network of chosen ones, each carrying their own M, each stepping into their divine purpose. Your breakthrough isn't just personal, it's generational. Your obedience today plants seeds for your children, your community, even strangers who will hear your story years from now. Think of Hannah, who prayed for a child through years of barrenness. Her faith didn't just give her Samuel, it gave Israel a prophet. Samuel 1:27 says, "I prayed for this child, and the Lord has granted me what I asked of him." Your prayers, your steps, your they're birthing something bigger than you can see. What if the doubts you're carrying are actually invitations to trust deeper? What if the M on your palm is God's way of saying, "I've already gone before you"? You've been missing what matters most because you've been focused on the temporary. Fear, lack, other people's opinions. But now, chosen one, it's time to fix your eyes on the eternal, to walk in the confidence that your destiny is secure in God's hands. Your next step isn't just a move, it's a moment that could shift everything. Chosen one, you're standing on the edge of something sacred, a divine threshold where the ordinary gives way to the extraordinary. That M on your palm isn't just a mark, it's a beacon, glowing with the promise of a life aligned with God's purpose. You've been tangled in the web of daily struggles, haven't you? Maybe it's the weight of responsibilities piling up, the sting of unhealed wounds, or the quiet fear that your dreams are slipping through your fingers. But God is calling you to lift your eyes, to see beyond the chaos and into the clarity of your divine destiny. Picture a golden path winding through a forest, each step illuminated by beams of light breaking through the canopy. That path is yours, and the M is your guide, urging you to focus on what matters most. Your spiritual awakening, your faith journey, your inheritance of abundance. Let's talk about the weight you've been carrying. Maybe it's the burden of trying to please everyone, of molding yourself to fit expectations that never felt like yours. Or perhaps it's the exhaustion of holding on to hope when the world seems determined to snuff it out. I think of Rachel, a nurse from Denver, who spent years working overtime, pouring herself into her patients, but neglecting her own dreams of opening a wellness center. She felt drained, like her purpose was buried under endless shifts. One evening, she noticed the mim on her palm while scrubbing her hands. It sparked a memory of her vision to help others heal holistically. She took her first step, writing a plan for her center. Then she reached out to a colleague who shared her passion. Her bold action was applying for a small grant. Today, Rachel's Wellness Center is thriving, a testament to God's provision when she chose to act. Psalm 37:4 says, "Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." Your M is a reminder that your deepest desires are God's blueprint for your prosperous life. You might feel like you've been running in circles, chosen one, chasing solutions that never seem to stick. But God calls those circles preparation, each loop strengthening your faith, sharpening your vision. The world tells you to hustle harder, to measure your worth by what you produce. But God measures your worth by who you are. His chosen, marked by the M, destined for breakthrough. Your struggles aren't evidence of failure, they're proof of your resilience. Every time you chose to keep going, to pray through the pain, to trust despite the silence. You were building a foundation for divine provision. Isaiah 40:31 promises, "Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles." Your M is your wings, lifting you above the storms into a season of clarity and overflow. Let's confront the voice of inadequacy. Maybe you've told yourself you don't have the skills, the connections, or the resources to step into your calling. That's a lie, designed to keep you small. God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. Think of Gideon hiding in a winepress, certain he was the least of his clan. Yet God saw the M of a mighty warrior in him. Judges 6:12 says, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Gideon's obedience turned a timid man into a leader who changed history. Your M is God's declaration that you too are a warrior, equipped for a personal transformation that will shift atmospheres. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be willing. Those 3 steps, writing a goal, reaching out, taking bold action, are your keys to unlocking what matters most. They're not just practical, they're prophetic, signaling to heaven that you're ready to move. When you write that goal, you're carving your vision into reality, inviting God to breathe life into it. When you reach out, you're opening channels for divine partnerships, people who will carry keys to your next season. When you take that bold action, you're stepping into the flow of God's abundance, where miracles meet movement. Don't let doubt make you second guess. 2 Corinthians 5:7 says, "For we live by faith, not by sight." Your faith in these steps is the bridge to your breakthrough. If this message is sparking something deep within you, pause and type, "I'm stepping into my abundance," in the comments below. Let your words rise like incense, joining a global chorus of chosen ones, embracing their divine purpose. Your comment isn't just a movement, it's a movement, inspiring others to trust their M and claim their destiny. Now, let's talk about legacy. Your calling isn't just about you, it's about the lives you're destined to touch. The world wants you to focus on survival, paying bills, getting by, keeping the peace. But God wants you to focus on significance, building something that outlives you. Imagine a tree, its roots deep in faith, its branches heavy with fruit that feeds generations. That's your life when you align with what matters most. Your M isn't just a personal promise, it's a generational mandate. I heard about James, a teacher in Miami who felt stuck in a classroom, yearning to mentor at-risk youth. He saw the M on his palm one day and decided to act. He wrote a plan for a mentorship program, reached out to a local community center, and took a bold step by hosting a free workshop. That workshop grew into a non-profit that's now transformed hundreds of lives. Proverbs 13:22 says, "A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children." Your inheritance isn't just wealth, it's wisdom, impact, and hope. You might be wondering, what if I'm not ready? What if I mess it up? Let's reframe that fear. Readiness isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting the one who does. Every time you've felt unprepared, you've been standing at the edge of a divine opportunity. Picture a riverbank, the water rushing with purpose, inviting you to step in. The current might feel strong, but it's carrying you toward your destiny. Your M is God's assurance that you're not stepping into the unknown alone. Hebrews 13:5 says, "Never will I leave you, never will I forsake you." Your next step isn't a risk, it's a response to a God who's already gone ahead of you. Let's talk about the power of your voice. You've been silent too long, haven't you? Holding back your ideas, your dreams, your truth, afraid of being misunderstood or rejected. But your voice is a gift, a tool God gave you to shape your world. When you speak life, over your goals, your relationships, your future. You're partnering with heaven to create abundance. Think of Ezekiel, standing before a valley of dry bones. God told him to speak, and those bones came to life. Ezekiel 37:4 says, "Prophesy to these bones, and say to them, dry bones, hear the word of the Lord." Your M is your call to prophesy over your own life, to speak possibility where you once saw barrenness. Your words aren't just sounds, they're seeds planting a harvest of prosperity. You're part of a divine movement, chosen one. Imagine a symphony, thousands of voices rising in harmony, each carrying the M of their calling. Your steps, writing, reaching out, acting boldly, are notes in that symphony, resonating with God's purpose. You're not just building a life, you're building a legacy that echoes through eternity. What if the hesitation you feel is actually excitement, the stir of a destiny ready to unfold? What if the M on your palm is God's way of saying, now is your time? You've been missing what matters most because you've been looking at the obstacles instead of the opportunities. But now, chosen one, it's time to see the open doors, to hear the divine whisper, to walk in the confidence that your life is backed by heaven's limitless resources. Chosen one, you're not just living a life. You're walking a divine path, every moment etched with purpose by the hand of God. That M on your palm isn't a mere mark. It's a celestial signature, a testament that you were chosen before time began for a destiny of impact and abundance. You've been weighed down by the clamor of the world, haven't you? Maybe it's the relentless pressure to perform, the sting of past disappointments, or the quiet doubt that whispers you're not enough to claim the dreams burning in your heart. But God is calling you to shift your focus, to anchor yourself in what matters most, your spiritual awakening, your divine purpose, the prosperous life waiting for you to embrace. Picture a radiant flame, flickering in the darkness of your struggles, growing brighter with each step you take toward faith. That flame is your M, guiding you to a season of clarity and overflow. Let's talk about the chains of expectation. Maybe you've felt trapped by what others think you should be, successful by their standards, stable in their eyes, or silent to keep their peace. Perhaps you've dimmed your light to avoid standing out, afraid of judgment or envy. I think of Leah, a graphic designer from Portland who spent years creating for others while her own art stayed hidden in sketchbooks. She felt invisible, like her creativity didn't matter. One day she noticed the mim on her palm while sketching and felt a surge of courage. She wrote down her goal to launch an online portfolio, reached out to a gallery owner and took a bold step by sharing her work publicly. Within months, her art was featured in local exhibitions and commissions started pouring in. Psalm 37:5 says, "Commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him and He will do this." Your M is God's invitation to commit your gifts to Him, trusting that He will make them shine. You might feel like your efforts have been scattered, chosen one, like you're pouring energy into things that don't last. But God calls those efforts seeds, planted in the soil of His purpose, waiting for the right season to bloom. The world pushes you to chase quick wins, likes, promotions, instant results. But God invites you to invest in the eternal. Your prayers, your persistence, your quiet acts of faith are building a foundation for a breakthrough that will outlast temporary trends. Jeremiah 17:7-8 says, "Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in Him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream." Your M is your root system, anchoring you in God's provision, keeping you steady through every storm. Let's confront the fear of being seen. Maybe you've hesitated to step into your calling because it means standing out risking criticism, or facing rejection. It's easier to stay small, to blend in, to keep your dreams tucked away. But God didn't mark you with an M for you to hide. Think of Deborah, a prophetess and judge in Israel, who led with boldness in a time when women were rarely seen in power. Judges 4:4 says, "Now Deborah, a prophet, was leading Israel at that time. She didn't shrink from her calling, she embraced it, and her leadership brought victory." Your M is God's call to lead, to create, to shine, not for your glory, but for His. You're not meant to stay in the shadows. You're meant to be a beacon of divine purpose. Those 3 steps, writing a goal, reaching out, taking bold action, are your pathway to what matters most. They're not just tasks, they're declarations of faith, signaling to heaven that you're ready to move. When you write your goal, you're planting a flag in the ground, claiming your territory in God's plan. When you reach out, you're weaving a tapestry of divine connections, threads that will strengthen your journey. When you take bold action, you're stepping into the current of God's abundance, where provision flows like a river. Don't let hesitation hold you back. James 2:17 says, "Faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead." Your actions breathe life into your faith, turning your M into a living promise. If this message is igniting a fire in your spirit, pause and type, "I'm shining with purpose," in the comments below. Let your words echo in the heavens, joining thousands of chosen ones who are stepping into their divine moment. Your comment is a spark, lighting the way for others to embrace their M and move forward in faith. Now, let's talk about timing. You might feel like you've missed your chance, like the years have slipped by or opportunities have passed you by. But God's timing is never late. The world says you're behind if you haven't hit certain milestones by a certain age, but God says you're right on time for His purpose. I heard about Thomas, a retiree from Atlanta who thought his dream of writing a memoir was over at 65. He saw the mem on his palm one morning and felt a nudge to start. He wrote his goal, contacted a local writers group, and took a bold step by self-publishing his first chapter. That chapter grew into a book that's now inspiring readers across the country. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." Your M is proof that your time is now, no matter where you are in life. You might be wrestling with impatience, wondering when your breakthrough will come. It's hard to wait when the world moves so fast, isn't it? But God's delays are not denials. They're divine alignments, positioning you for a moment when every piece falls into place. Picture a puzzle, its pieces scattered across a table, each one meaningless alone. But as God moves, those pieces snap together, revealing a masterpiece. Your struggles, your dreams, your shma, they're all pieces of God's plan, coming together in His perfect time. Habakkuk 2:3 says, "For the vision awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come." Your waiting is not wasted. It's weaving your story of abundance. Let's talk about the power of surrender. Maybe you've been gripping your plans so tightly, afraid to let go, afraid to trust. But surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means giving over to a God who sees further than you can. When you surrender your fears, your need for control, your obsession with outcomes, you make room for divine provision to flow. Think of Hannah, who poured out her heart to God in surrender, praying for a child. Samuel 1:118 says, "Her face was no longer downcast. Her surrender brought peace." And then Samuel, a prophet who changed a nation. Your M is your invitation to surrender, to let go of what's holding you back, and trust God to deliver what's ahead. You're part of a divine symphony, chosen one. Imagine thousands of voices, each marked with their own M, singing in harmony with God's purpose. Your steps, writing, reaching out, acting boldly, are notes in that symphony, creating a melody of hope that resonates beyond your life. Your breakthrough isn't just for you. It's for the people waiting to be inspired by your courage, transformed by your faith, blessed by your obedience. What if the fear you're feeling is just the tension before a divine release? What if the M on your palm is God's way of saying, "I've got you, and your moment is closer than you think"? You've been missing what matters most because you've been focused on the temporary, fear, control, the world's pace. But now, chosen one, it's time to embrace the eternal, to walk with the boldness of someone whose life is backed by heaven's limitless grace. Chosen one, you're not just moving through moments, you're stepping into a divine rhythm, a sacred cadence orchestrated by the Creator himself. That M on your palm isn't just a line, it's a holy imprint, a marker that you were destined for a life of purpose, not just survival. You've been wrestling with the pull of the world, haven't you? Maybe it's the gnawing anxiety of an uncertain future, the ache of unspoken dreams, or the subtle pressure to conform to a life that doesn't fit your soul. But God is inviting you to tune out the static and listen to the melody of what matters most, your spiritual awakening, your divine calling, the abundant life waiting for you to claim. Picture a starry sky, each constellation telling a story, and your M as the brightest star, guiding you to a destiny written in light. This is your moment to stop chasing shadows and start walking in truth. Let's talk about the fog of overwhelm. Maybe you've felt buried under the weight of too many choices, too many demands, or too many voices telling you what you should do. Perhaps you've been paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong move, stuck at a crossroads with no clear sign. I think of Marcus, a barista from Seattle, who dreamed of starting a podcast about mental health but felt overwhelmed by the steps to begin. He felt lost, like his vision was too big for his reality. One day, he noticed the M on his palm while pouring coffee and felt a spark of hope. He wrote down his goal to record one episode, reached out to a friend with recording equipment, and took a bold step by posting a teaser online. That teaser went viral, and now his podcast reaches thousands, offering hope to those in need. Psalm 32:8 says, "I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you." Your M is God's assurance that He's guiding your every step toward a prosperous life. You might feel like you've been treading water, chosen one, exerting energy just to stay afloat. But God calls that effort endurance, a strength forged in the deep waters of faith. The world measures progress by visible results, money, status, applause. But God measures it by the quiet growth of your spirit. Every time you chose to pray instead of panic, to hope instead of despair, to keep moving despite the weight, you were sculpting a faith that can withstand any storm. Isaiah 41:13 says, "For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, 'Do not fear, I will help you.'" Your M is the hand of God, holding you steady, pulling you into a season of divine provision and clarity. Let's address the lure of perfectionism. Maybe you've delayed your dreams because you're waiting for everything to be just right, the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect you. But perfection is a trap, keeping you from the messy, beautiful process of growth. God doesn't need you flawless, He needs you faithful. Think of Peter, who denied Jesus 3 times yet was called the rock on which the church would be built. Matthew 16:18 says, "On this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overcome it." Peter's M was his willingness to step forward despite his flaws, and God used him to change history. Your M is your call to act, imperfections and all. trusting that God will perfect what you begin in faith. Those 3 steps, writing a goal, reaching out, taking bold action, are your bridge to what matters most. They're not just practical, they're sacred, aligning your heart with heaven's purpose. When you write your goal, you're declaring your trust in God's vision for your life. When you reach out, you're inviting divine allies to join your journey, people who will amplify your impact. When you take bold action, you're stepping into the flow of God's abundance, where resources meet obedience. Don't let procrastination steal your moment. Proverbs 16:9 says, "In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." Your steps, no matter how small, are established by God's hand. If this message is stirring a fire in your soul, pause and type, "I'm walking in my calling," in the comments below. Let your words rise like a prayer, joining a global community of chosen ones embracing their divine purpose. Your comment is a beacon, lighting the path for others to trust their M and step into their destiny. Now let's talk about influence. Your life isn't just about personal success. It's about the ripple effect of your faith. The world wants you to focus on self, your comfort, your achievements, your security. But God calls you to focus on service, using your gifts to lift others. Imagine a pebble dropped into a still lake, its ripples spreading far beyond the point of impact. That's your life when you align with your divine purpose. Your M isn't just for you. It's for the people waiting to be inspired by your story. I heard about Sarah, a librarian in Chicago, who dreamed of starting a literacy program for underprivileged kids. She felt unqualified, but the M on her palm reminded her of her passion. She wrote her goal, contacted a local school, and took a bold step by hosting a free reading event. That event grew into a citywide initiative, transforming young lives. Matthew 5:16 says, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Your influence is your light, shining for God's glory. You might be grappling with the fear of vulnerability. Maybe you've held back from sharing your dreams, your struggles, or your faith, afraid of being misunderstood or exposed. But vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the doorway to connection and impact. When you share your truth, you give others permission to do the same. Think of Paul, who openly shared his past as a persecutor of Christians, using his story to point to God's grace. 1 Timothy 1:16 says, "I was shown mercy, so that in me, the worst of sinners, Christ Jesus might display his immense patience as an example for those who would believe." Your M is your story, a testimony of God's work in you, meant to inspire others. Your vulnerability is your strength, a bridge to hearts waiting for hope.